No need to go far and wide. Let Hometown provide. Hometown Trophies and Embroidery in Lena can help turn your ideas into reality. From awards, engraving, and gifts to custom apparel and business accessories, they have you covered. Visit them today or give them a call at 815-369-9185. That's Hometown Trophies Embroidery. Let your vision become their masterpiece.
When it comes to planning for your future, you want someone you can trust. At Prairie State Investments, Mark Pfeiffer is here to help you build a plan that fits your life, your family, and your goals. Whether it's retirement, college savings, or investing wisely for tomorrow, Mark has the knowledge and local commitment to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future up to chance. Call Mark Pfeiffer at Prairie State Investments today at 815-668-8131 and start investing with confidence. Welcome to NUIC All Access, joined by Jay Doyle. I am your host, Kyle Kampmier. Today we feature the head coach of the Stockton Blackhawks and a couple standout players for the Blackhawks. Jay, introduce our guest to us today.
All right, today's guests are Stockton head coach Sean Downey, tight end linebacker Eli Larson, and offensive lineman and defensive lineman Oliver McPeek. Here's what they've accomplished so far. Sean Downey is a 2002 Milledgeville graduate, all-conference offensive and
2003. My bad.
2003 Milledgeville graduate, all-conference offensive and defensive lineman, coached basketball at Pearl City from 2011 to 2019 with a 103 record, was an assistant football coach at EPC from 2012 to 2017, and the 2014 Class 2A state champion. He's joined by Eli Larson, 2024 first-team all-conference tight end, 2024 runner-up at 175 pounds, and 2025 state champion at 175 pounds, and Oliver McPeek, 2024 fourth place at 190 pounds. How we doing?
Doing good.
Good, guys. All right, Sean, you were an assistant coach with Coach Randy Ashe on those great EPC teams that were known for physicality and toughness. What similarities do you see with this Stockton group compared to some of those teams that you had in the 2010s?
Yeah, a lot of similarities, Kyle. Just I'd say the biggest thing is the before you even set foot on the field, the commitment in the weight room and training. It started a few years ago, and then when Coach Riley and Coach Randy opened up their gym in Pearl City, it just kind of exploded. And to be physical on the field, myself and our staff believes you gotta do the work in the weight room. And when I took the job here, I said that was going to be the one room that made us competitive again. And to all these guys' credit, Eli, Oliver, and these guys in the program, they bought in and they did it, and here we are. So and then on top of that, just our practices are probably more physical than a lot of practices are in the area. We just believe if you're going to play that way on Friday nights, you got to practice that way too. So I'd say between the weight room and our practice intensity kind of leads to playing physical football.
So, talking to Coach Ashe, what was it like to get him on staff? You were his assistant at EPC. He's now an assistant on your staff. One of the things I talked to Kyle off here, off and on when you took over and then he became staff, I just said, I know one thing I'll get out of Stockton that we'll see, and that's they're going to come hit you and play physical football. So what was it like reuniting with Coach back at Stockton?
Yeah, I mean, well,
you give me a phone charger?
the first one I talked to was, Riley, and got him on staff for defensive coordinator. And then
I'm going to switch spots with you too.
I knew if we got him that then Randy would be there too. So, it was a challenge. I talked to him. I said, "You ready to get this thing back?" And they both said yeah. So they jumped in with both feet. And on top of being assistant coaches, they're also great friends of mine. Randy dragged me out of bed this morning to go duck hunting. I should have stayed in bed because we didn't shoot anything. So, I've been doing this long enough that, if you enjoy the people that you're doing this with, then it's a lot of fun. And if you don't enjoy being around the guys you're coaching with, then it's not as much fun. So we're having an absolute blast, and it's not just those guys. I mean, we got an awesome staff all around. So everybody on staff does an awesome job, and just fortunate to have them on with me and all our guys.
Eli, this one's for you. Coming into the season, what goals did you personally set for yourself, and what did the team talk about achieving together?
Personally, I'd say that I just wanted to get stronger and get a lot bigger because as I went to camps and prospect camps in the off season, as I was getting recruited, a lot of the coaches were kind of concerned about my weight. They I mean, I wrestled 175 pounds my junior year, so that's pretty small for your typical tight end at any college level. But I also wanted to not just, put on typical weight. I wanted it to be muscle mass. So definitely getting stronger and getting bigger at the same time was probably one of my biggest goals. And then the team, we kind of all came to agreement we want to win state. That was the biggest thing that we set. Yeah, going undefeated is cool. Yeah, winning conference is cool. But at the end of the day, would you rather be 8-1, not conference champs, but win state, or 9-0 conference champs, losing in the second round of the playoffs?
Well, heck, now just go 9-0 and win state. You got one. You're
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
to the 9-0.
Getting them both doesn't sound too bad either.
Just keep knocking them out. Oliver, question for you then. What was your expectations for yourself and the team, coming into the season?
Coming into the season, they're pretty high for both myself and the team because obviously we finished second round exit in the playoffs last year, so we knew we were going to be decent. And then I could tell with all the commitment that everyone's been putting in the weight room that we're going to have something special this year. And I don't know, see what we can do.
So, Coach, looking back at this team in August, what were the standards and expectations you laid down for them? Obviously, their own personal expectations were pretty high. Was there anything that you had to help build into them, or was it driven by them?
Well, I mean, used to talk about in August, but I mean, go back even a little further, a year and a half, 2 years ago. I mean, um, when we laid out our expectations and what we wanted of them, 3 to 4 workouts a week, and attending team days, attending our camps, 7-on-7s, all that stuff. I mean, our attendance rate has to be at 90% or higher. I mean, we're looking all summer long. We were looking at between 43 and 48, 49 kids at team practices and things like that. So, it's a credit to these seniors. In my opinion, they've set the standard. I mean, they show up to everything, weight room sessions, all that stuff. And when you're an underclassman and you got, groups of these guys, like this group of seniors, that just don't miss anything, I mean, it just sets the standard for the rest of the program.
And that's one of the things they learn that, once you get that instilled in them and they see the success, it's a lot easier to do it. So I guess my question goes back to, you talked about it. You had a second round exit last year, and this will ask all three of you your perspective on it. Made the playoffs, beat Princeville first round, went against Lena again round 2, lost to Lee Wynn round 2. What did you take from that game to beginning of the year?
I mean, the biggest thing that I took away from it was that we weren't good enough yet. Coaching wise, we weren't good enough. Strength wise, we weren't good enough. And we challenged them. And I guess the day I knew that we were going to come back stronger this year was the Monday after that Saturday loss, because we had a weight room full of guys on Monday morning. And I thought, okay, they're not satisfied. So that's when I kind of knew that this year we were going to come back a little bit better than a year ago.
How about you, Oliver?
Yeah, that game kind of left us with a bad taste in our mouth. And no one obviously wanted to feel that feeling again. Kind of got a little bit embarrassed at home there. And yeah, we came back in week 2 and we wanted them bad and we got it. So
Eli?
Yeah, I feel like we definitely got we a lot of our players had never been in a playoff atmosphere like that. I mean, seeing your home field packed with standing room is definitely an experience that'll kind of shock you. And I feel like we almost got lost in that a little bit, and then we left a lot out there. I feel like we could have done a lot more in that game. I don't know if we would have won it, but I feel like it should have been a lot closer than it was. And so, knowing we were there and knowing we left so much out there, kind of just used it as fuel going through the summer. You didn't want to go to a lift. You'd probably just think about that game, and you get there pretty quick.
Yeah, that's one thing that was a credit to you guys. You guys were a very young team last year, and I think everybody noticed that. You had a lot of guys coming back, and that's one of the things that maybe not at the time you realize is a good thing, but when you realize maybe you're not good enough and you can control being better, that fuels the fire. It's sometimes to go to a game and you just realize they're just a better team, but to know that we can get stronger. I can do better. My teammates can do better, and you come back how you did. I think everybody was ready for that game too, but now the thing we can talk about you guys normally can't was everybody stay focused for a possible rematch, and but you guys have put yourself in that position by the hard work you did all summer and so far this fall.
So speaking on that topic, obviously, like we said before we came on air, I put out playoff projections, and you hear the talk. Everybody's wanting Stockton and Lena Winslow on opposite sides of the bracket for a lot of reasons, but arguably they're the two strongest teams in Class 1A North right now. Obviously, no disrespect to any other teams, because you still have to go through them and you have to take them seriously. Otherwise, they can knock you off. But what would it mean to get that opportunity to get Lena Winslow again in the playoffs with an opportunity for a trip to normal on the line?
Well, I think the first thing, I think they're going to be a high seed, and we're going to be a high seed, most likely. So if we are meeting up again, it means that it's late. So quarterfinal, semifinal. So that means we've taken care of business to get there. So, um, you know, I know that's the big talk out there right now is a rematch or whatever, and whenever it happens, or if it happens. But um, honestly, guys, I'm looking at Forston
Or
right now. So
you got to look at Forest, and we can look at everything else.
yeah,
Kyle's got projections for projections over here,
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
what Kyle does.
Yeah. Well, there's so much. I mean, there's so much that can happen, in 1 week, let alone 3, 4 weeks down the road with injuries or upsets or who knows what it could happen. So, I mean, really, I know it's cliche, but I mean, it's the next one for us.
So Eli, quick question for you. So far this season, been a lot of highs and some lows, but what moment or game um has stood out for you so far?
Um, it's the one that I go to pretty quick is obviously week 2 when we played Lena. Uh, Not that it was a big game for sure, but the way that we were able to drive the ball, chew up a bunch of clock, just really play our brand of football in such a high environment, and then they score super quick. I think it was 3 plays, but then our boys, we just got right back at it, and that's something that really clicked with me right away looking back on that game because last year, I don't know how quick we would have responded with them scoring in 3 plays.
Oliver, what about you?
I would say, yeah, week 2, but also that last drive against Dupec for the win.
That's where I was
That
going
was
to
a
go.
grinder. Uh, I was dog tired, but I know everyone else was, but we grinded it out and got it done.
I think Kyle and I talked about this, and that was for us a defining moment. Um, because watching the Lee win Stockton game, I think one of the things that shocked me was you guys controlled the line of scrimmage and everything looked kind of easy. And knowing everybody knows that the next time you guys play, for either team, it's not going to be that easy. But for me, of a championship style team, to be down how you guys were and needed that drive, and I talked to Kyle after that game, and his thing was you just felt like this was their moment. And Kyle was there. I was not able to be there, but you can kind of go on a little bit, Kyle, about it. But it was like those are defining moments in a season, and your backs were up against the wall, and you guys came through. That's what it's going to take in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, when I was talking to Coach on Friday night in the instant reacts, that's one of the things I asked him was, you guys got the ball back. You made a huge stop, got the ball back, and then you had to get a 4th down conversion, and you got it by the nose of the ball that was able to keep that drive going. But the thing that really stood out the most to me was, Oliver, you said you were dog tired, but the play that you guys had did not look like you guys were tired. You looked like you guys were conditioned and ready to go for that final drive, which you could just feel that momentum swing shift. And that's why I told Jay, I'm like, once they got the ball and they started chewing up the clock, grinding out that clock and driving down the field, I said game over.
Mine was seeing the replay, Coach, and seeing how high you got off the ground for them to keep the clock running. That was my favorite moment. Showing that high vertically you got.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. Eric Bergen, the offensive coordinator at Forston, took a screenshot of the same thing, and I told him I was going to lay down a challenge to Coach Janicki, a slam dunk competition on an 8-foot rim next week when we play Forston. So
that we would like to see.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Kyle, you made a great point there. To me, even before the drive, was our defense standing up and making a stop when it looked like that was going to be hard to come by, and the defense stiffened up there when they got inside the 25 or whatever it was, and they got that stop on 4th down, and it was huge.
So one of the things that I noticed, and I'm going to change this question around a little bit, but we talk about it. When you think of area football, Stockton football is one of the top tier teams throughout the course of history. Obviously, the winningest program in the NUIC history as well. One of the best programs statewide, especially across small school football. Eli, we'll start with you. What does that Stockton football tradition mean to you?
Yeah, it definitely means a ton. I mean, it's every Friday night. It's the whole town supporting you. Ton of just good lucks as you're going through town, as you're on your drive home from school. You're getting people yelling good luck at you, and it's kind of just been a thing that all the kids have been surrounded in since we were young. Everybody talks about like the 2012 Stockton team that went to state, got second. And one of the things I was talking about with Morgan Hass just a couple weeks ago was saying that in 10 years, I want the 25 team to be talked about like it was the 2013 team. So it's just kind of it's a huge legacy thing across the entire town.
Yeah, I do know this, and having to play against Stockton back in the days, and now I was a mid-90s guy. Every time I look, there's a McPeek on the team. that I do know. So how many more McPeeks are there behind you, Oliver?
I got 2 brothers and a cousin. Yet there's definitely more, but
there's more coming.
3 that come to mind. My dad was on that 91 state championship team, and yeah.
Well, so when you look at that 91 state championship trophy, there's like 6 McPeaks listed on that trophy.
Yeah. And Coach Edelman's also a cousin of mine too, so that's another one on there.
That family tree is big. We do know that.
Definitely.
So, Coach, going back to you now, with that tradition built in place ahead of your arrival, how have you challenged your guys to continue to honor that and write their own legacy?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, like being part of something bigger than just us. Like, it's not my program. It's the Stockton Blackhawks program. Like, and these guys. I was trying to go back and see how many years they played football. It's something like 1908 or something crazy, like teams all the way back to there. So, um, I mean, for 100 years they've been playing football here, and just the legends that have been, coaching and playing here for all these years. Honestly, it just gives you goosebumps thinking about it. When you're in high school, maybe you don't think about it as much, but you get a little older like I am, you start to realize how lucky you are to be able to coach in a place with, tradition and pride like Stockton.
Yeah, one of my pictures I got hanging up in the basement is from the 1997 game I played against Stockton. I'm tackling Chris Wolf in the picture. And of course, that was the last time I was able to face John O'Boyle, because the very next year he was retired, and we played him on John O'Boyle dedication night. We kind of steamrolled Stockton, so that was always a proud moment for me. But when like Jay said, when you go up against Stockton, especially in our era, I mean, it was always tough. I mean, obviously, Oliver, like you said, you had the 91 state championship team. You had the 94 team that did a lot of things that fell short against a Newman team that went on to win state. And they were just every
2004.
year they were just always competitive, and it's just crazy how good it is on a regular basis. And every now and then you get the down years, but then they're not down for very long. And one of the things I really, really respect about Stockton is right now they're the smallest school in 11-man football in the NUIC. Yet you guys always have like the biggest amount of kids on the sidelines, or right up there competing with the bigger schools in the conference with the amount of players you have in your program.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like what the exact percentage is, but we're right around 160 kids in the high school and 50, 51 kids out in the program. So, right at a third of the high school on the football program. I take a lot of pride in seeing those numbers out, but honestly, it's just like you said, the tradition. And if you're a Stockton boy, you play football, it seems like. So, um, you know, uh, like I said, it's gone on for a lot of years, and hopefully we can continue it here.
I think Oliver's trying to take us on a tour of the house, and now he's showing off them big bucks in the back.
Yeah.
Did you catch
My
those
phone
things,
was
or did
about to
someone
die,
else?
so I had to run to my room quick.
You got some things hanging up in your room up there?
Yeah, I got some deer.
Oh
Just a
boy,
few.
you got them right. You didn't go. They're not someone else's that you put up on your
No,
wall.
they're
are they?
mine.
All
They're
right,
both mine.
just
They're all-
checking. So here's a question for both you, Oliver and Eli. Oliver, you can go first. Where do you see the biggest thing where you developed as a player from week 1 to now?
Probably week 2. They moved Gannon Dunker over me for a little bit, and that really made me better, and kind of against those bigger guys gave me a little more feel for it and really how to work around them.
And Eli, what have you gotten developed since week 1 to now? Where have you gotten better?
I think just the speed that I do everything at, because I was just going back today and doing some highlights with my dad, and we went through weeks 1 through 8, and just seeing everything quicker is one thing that I felt like just as the season's gone on, I've developed it a lot, like not pausing so long when searching for a downfield block, or reading a pass or run read better on defense. I feel like I've just gotten back in the flow of things, and it's getting quicker every week.
I thought you were gonna say it was your mad hops because like every picture I see of you, you're like jumping up into somebody in celebration all the time. And it's like I'm trying to find photos of you, and it's like, oh, there he is up in the air.
Yeah.
But
I sure jump around. Yeah, I agree. I jump around a lot. Me and Carter like to do some stuff with that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's all that PE basketball you've been playing.
Yeah, Coach Downey's whipping me into shape. Might have to tell Coach Milder.
You guys got you and Coach Downey have a dunk contest here this week.
We'll film one for you guys this weekend. You guys
Awesome.
can post
All
it.
right.
my money's on you, Eli.
Yeah.
I think I'll take that bet too.
Let's see here. Coach, what have you learned about this group as young men, as competitors through not just this season, but through your time being around them as part of the Stockton program?
I thought last Friday night was a good example. I've learned they're not going to quit. If things aren't going well, I think they're going to stand in there and fight. And, it's one of the hardest working bunches I've been around, not just during the season, but all year round. I'll never forget my first year. We opened the weight room every morning at 7, and these guys would be rolling in at 7:00 after an hour and a half wrestling session at 5:30 in the morning, and they'd be drenched in sweat, and they'd come rolling in the weight room, and they'd still get a full lift in from 7 to 8 a.m. So just I don't know, just incredibly hard workers, and they like to give me a hard time now and then, but raise my blood pressure a little bit. But just a ton of fun, and just love having these guys around.
So, Coach, you got one game left. You're 8-0. Hopefully move to 9-0. Tough Forston team coming up. They would love nothing more than to put a wrinkle in everybody's playoffs and Kyle's projections, right? How do you keep this team focused, and how do you keep them focused on the task at hand of first winning the conference championship and then being ready to go in the playoffs?
Yeah. Honestly, all we have to do is show them the film from yesterday. They go down and beat a good Leroy team down there, beat them by a couple scores. So, they're playing good football right now. And, we've got a lot of respect for Forston and the way they play. They're a physical bunch and play awfully hard. So, on top of that, it's our senior night. We got 17 seniors that we're going to be celebrating on Friday night. So I don't anticipate any any lack of focus or being ready to go on Friday.
So, Eli, obviously playoffs means it's time to put your legacy and final stamp on Stockton football. What's your mindset going into these upcoming games and then preparing for the playoffs?
Yeah, kind of just not leaving anything out there. Just doing as much as I can. I couple times a week I go and lift in the mornings in Pearl City before school. And so even there I'm thinking like, let's get the most out of this because this is almost over with. So let's get the most out of it while I can. And let's just not leave the field with any regrets at the end of the year.
So, Oliver and Eli, I'll ask you this question because I know I'll get a coach's response from Coach Downey. But for you guys, one of the most important things, and coaches can say it till they're blue in the face, of blocking out the noise and not listening to everybody around telling you how great you are, because you're one game away here pretty soon from going home, right? How do you guys stay focused, and how do you quiet the noise to stay focused on the next game and the game at hand? Eli, you can go first.
All right. Yeah. One thing, it's kind of starts with what our coaches preach. They're just before we'll go every Monday, we'll go up to the field, we'll do our stuff. And one thing that Coach Downey always makes sure to tell us is that we have a number by our name everywhere we look, but that numbers don't correspond to how we play on the field, and that we need to play our brand of football and win the way we want to win, and not play with that number all over our head.
Oliver?
Yeah, obviously what everyone says about us doesn't really mean anything. You got to do the talk with our pads and how we play on the field.
Well, that's the main thing. Every mom and dad and uncle and the crazy people from Stockton that follow Kyle and us on NUIC, they'll tell you how great you are and everything. But the matter of fact is, what you got to remember is there's always room for improvement, right? And that's the thing of it. You don't want to, depending upon what happens at the end of the year, we've seen teams lack focus. And one of the things that I can credit you guys, if you guys have shown that you've kept your focus as a team, because everybody around is going to, Lena goes through it every year. Everybody at the beginning of the year tells them they're going to win a state title for the last 10 years, right? And they've done it, more than they haven't. But the teams that haven't, you have that. You just don't want any regret, and that's why week 9's a big week for you. And then the pairings come out, and then it's game by game, and play your best football moving forward. And how do you see that playing out, Coach, of keeping everybody level, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, it's been something that we've talked about since beginning of the season, because even before week 2 and, we upset Lena, we were still, we're 2 or 3, ranked or whatever, I don't know. There's so many polls out there. I can't even follow them all.
Kyle's is the only one that matter.
Mine's the most important. Don't trust the AP.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah. So, we talked about it even before that. So, it's not about anybody else. It's about us getting better every week and fixing and cleaning stuff up where we make mistakes the week before and going out and trying to improve it for the next week. And that's kind of been our mindset, since the beginning of the year. It hasn't really changed.
Oliver, what's a message that Coach Downey tells you that's been echoing in your head going into the Dupec game, maybe afterwards? I know you probably haven't had much conversation with them since Friday's game. Maybe you have, but what's that message that you keep hearing on the side when you're going through games, going through plays, and you might not be feeling something the right way, but you can hear Coach's voice in your head before he ever says anything?
Not so much in the games, but just throughout the week. After every game, Coach Downey will tell us that every week we have to be taking a step up, just getting better every week and just progressing as a team. So I would have to say that, probably.
Eli, what about you, man?
Yeah, on the field, if we were to run a play to my side, say I don't block the guy the greatest, I know I'll hear Coach Downey yelling my name, going, "We need more out of you. You can do better than that." And I know that's because he expects a lot out of me and the entire group. And then he'll just throughout the week preach, "You have to want to get better. You have to want it more." And that's something that our team definitely buys into a whole lot.
So we got a dunk competition we're gonna have between you guys and Coach Downey. Who's gonna take on Coach Ashy in a bench off? Is there anybody that can bench more than Coach Ashy?
Jack Mensbeck.
Jack would. Yeah. I'd put my money on Jack.
Really?
Yeah.
I just picture Coach Ashy coming into some hardcore music with his shirt off and all oiled up and just putting a ton of weight on and repping it out, and nobody wanted to go against him. That's what I picture.
Well, he hasn't been the same since he tore his pec muscle there back in the Pearl City weight room that night. But
I still put my money on him.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, me and Jay were talking about it, and Coach Ashley's one of the guys that you don't want to
Yes.
face off against. You want him on your side if you're going into a backroom brawl.
We always talk. Well, what brought up we always talked about, and I always tell because we were always short numbered at Orangeville, right? And I always tell the kids, we'd try to, we had some tougher teams back in the late like 18, 19, and I'm gonna say, fight breaks out. You guys got to take a couple. I got the coaches. Don't worry. I would not say that if I was going against the Stockton team this year. I would definitely. I would pick on. I would pick on some kid. Somebody else would get the coaching stuff because I definitely get my ass kicked.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah. Well, we got Coach Staver and Coach Hawley could take a few by themselves, I think. So
I remember Coach Hawley back in
And
the day.
throwing
He
Coach
was all,
Edelman too.
he was all big
Yeah.
upper body. Big upper body guy. I remember him. He was on the what team was that?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
We had to play that. That was one of my first year coaching, I think it was. And yeah,
Yeah, he was
I
a beast.
remember those.
Yeah.
I remember that game.
Logie looks a lot bigger now than he did when he played.
I look,
Yes,
Logie,
he did.
yeah, he's giant.
I look a lot bigger now than when I played too.
You're the wrong kind of big.
Coach, I seen a picture of you at Milledgeville. Could they have found bigger shoulder pads for you?
Well, those were the style back then.
Yeah. Were you a neck roll guy too?
I was a big neck roll guy.
That was a Milledgeville thing. Was that established
See-
by Coach Harchie? Because I mean,
Yeah.
Otis Varden had one, Jevin Plogue had one.
I think it was
quarterback had one.
it was standard issue at Milledgeville. You had to wear a neck roll.
Only if you were tough. You got like summoned. If you were a tough guy, you got the neck.
Yeah.
I could only imagine what it'd be today with allowing visors on the field. You guys would all have the visors too.
Yeah. I don't think Coach Harchie would have let us put visors on, but maybe.
So speaking of Coach Harchie, me and you kind of had this conversation a little bit off air, but what was it like playing for him, and what have you established or founded in your coaching plans that you bring forward into what you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, like I was kind of, saying, Coach Harchie was just a blast to play for. Super intelligent when it came to offensive football. When I played and kind of that era before I played, like Milledgeville was like big wing T school, like classic wing T, Delaware wing T, and then I graduated, went to college, and then I was on his staff actually for a year while I was student teaching, and I got to see this coach who had been coaching for 34, 35 years, and he was changing what he had done, and now he was implementing like spread pass game and read option stuff into his offense, and it resonated with me. Like, this guy's coached more football games than anybody I know, and he's still evolving as a football coach. Like, he's still changing what he does to fit his team. And I just have a ton of respect for him. I thought it was, looking back on it, how cool it was to see him, open to change.
So, Coach, last question for you. What message do you have for your team this week going into the playoffs? What's the thing they're going to hear the most?
We got a chance to probably lock up the number 1 seed if we go 9-0 and take care of business on senior night here at Stockton and beat Forston. And that's gonna be the message. Like, we're not gonna worry about what happens after this week until Saturday. So we got a group of seniors that deserve to go out with a win on Friday night, and my message to the juniors and sophomores that play with these guys is going to be to play with the type of effort that you want your teammates to play with when you're a senior. So that's it. We're going to load up for Forston and give them our best shot, and hopefully send these seniors out with a win.
Oliver, if you could give one piece of advice to the next wave of Stockton players, what would it be?
I would say to just hold each other accountable. Like if people are missing practice and missing weight room, do what you can to try to get them to go in there. And then another thing is just to trust each other out there on the field. It's a big thing with us. We're all kind of like brothers and we all just believe in each other.
Eli?
One piece of advice that I'd probably give is if one thing goes wrong, don't focus on it. Just move on, bounce back, focus on what you can control now because the past isn't something you can control. So why focus on it?
Yeah, that's what I would expect out of seniors and leaders on top of that. On my team, if I were coaching a team, I would want my guys to be setting the example and then preaching that example as well at the same time so that the younger guys start to follow that lead and continue that on after you walk away. I mean, that's part of leaving that legacy stamp that we talked about earlier as well. So, you know, you guys have done a phenomenal job, obviously turning around a season that ended it disappointing for you guys into what you've culminated into so far. Like Coach said, you guys are getting ready to get the #1 seed, provided that you take care of business on Friday against an always tough Forest and Cardinal team. Obviously there's definitely a lot of hype and a lot of talk about what can happen. And, it's great to hear that you guys are taking it one step at a time, as you should, because at the end of the day, it all goes by really fast. And then 20 years from now, you're going to be sitting at a bar talking to Coach Downey, having a beer, remembering the old days.
Yeah, the biggest thing on my end before we go is just to make sure that you listen to what the coaches are telling you and understand, that you give everything you have for the task at hand, because nothing's guaranteed after this coming Friday. Understand the fact that everyone will tell you how good you are, but you got to show up and play the football game, and you got to give everything you got, because the one thing we've always talked about football, which makes football so special, is you can always go pick up basketball game and everything like that, but very few times do you get to keep putting the football pads on, especially with the group of guys you have, and you guys are a pretty tight knit group. That if something does happen and you do lose, you guys gave everything you had and were mentally focused and ready, and you didn't let one slip away that you're gonna have to think about. So that's the thing. I know the coaches have been there before; they know what it takes. So just attention to detail from here on out.
Yep.
Thank
Well,
you,
guys, we appreciate you guys taking time out of a Sunday evening to come on the show. Obviously, it's been a lot of fun talking to you guys about Stockton football, looking at the season that you have. And like I said, there's a lot of excitement building up. We have our playoff show coming up next week. Myself and Jay will be hosting it with a couple others. I got Coach Downey scheduled to come on, so that'll be exciting as well, along with a bunch of other guys. But, we wish you guys the best of luck moving forward. You guys have done a great job to this point representing the NUIC. You guys do it the right way, which makes it even more fun to watch you guys play every week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you guys for the coverage and everything you guys do for the entire conference too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Jay and myself will look back at the last 2 weeks across the NUIC when we return right after this. Transform your outdoors with Baber Service Company. Landscape design and construction, including retaining walls and patios, mulch and rock beds, seasonal cleanups, and so much more. Serving Joe Davies, Carroll, Stevenson, Winnebago, Whiteside, Ogle, and Lee counties. Enhance your outdoor space with expert craftsmanship and attention to detail. Contact Baber Service Company today at 815-291-6334. Hey, we just got done with a great conversation with Sean Downey, Oliver McPeek, and Eli Larson. And, one of the things that I took away from that conversation was you could definitely tell the level of excitement that they have for the season that they've gone through. The focus is something that you definitely detailed and is there because every one of them is looking towards week 9. Nobody's looking ahead, which says a lot about what the coaches are trying to do as far as putting the kids in the right mindset and frame of mind to focus 1 week at a time, which is exactly what you want. But at the same time, you can tell that the guys themselves are very grounded in what they want to do and what they want to accomplish as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things you talk about is their first goal, after losing last year to Lee Win in week or round 2 of the playoffs was, we want to put ourselves in position to win a state championship. That was the talk. Well, now you're sitting at 8-0 going to week 9 with check the box for a conference championship, see where the cards lie in the playoff scheme of things with upsets, games, everything like that. And now let's play football, and it's 1 week at a time to get their course back to the state championship game where they all want to be.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've already put the playoff projections out on NUIC football. Right now, Stockton, definitely a surefire lock for that number 1 seed as long as they take care of business Friday against Forreston. With that, if Lena Winslow can get a win over Dupec, which they're projected to do, but that's going to be a very tough game with both those two teams. And Dupec's hungry after a close loss to Stockton this past week. That would give us the opportunity that a lot of people have already been stirring up on social media, is that they would like to see Stockton and Lena Winslow on the opposite sides of the bracket.
Yeah, here's some chess pieces that we can look at. Nobody else looks like it, but we move the chess pieces with every win and loss, with teams getting playoff points, losing playoff points, losing. Here's the domino effect that we could see happen. Lee wins at Dupec. A lot of the fans get what they want, seeing Stockton and Lee win on each side of the bracket. The domino effect to that is then Dupec will be sitting at 6-3. Round 2, they'll be looking right at Byron, which every year, let's face it, Dupec's looking, where's Byron or a team like that when we're going to play them in the playoffs. That's just how it is right now,
Correct.
right? So that's what they're looking at if they drop another game and go to 6-3. They win that game versus Lee Win. They stay away from that 6-3, playing the Byron round 2, more than likely. But that then puts Lee Win at a different, and them and Stockton would see each other much sooner in the playoffs. So that's how all the dominoes, and like you said last week, with all the wins and losses, the projections were all over the place and everything like that. But that's what we do, right? You project and you see where everybody's going to sit, and everything is ever changing. But that's what, that's what's great about week 9. Everybody's playing for something. Stockton's playing Forreston. We've seen Forreston beat teams that are 9-0 in big games.
Oh, yeah.
They're the big game killer, right?
They are.
So
they have a reputation.
They're going to be ready to go this Friday versus Stockton. Nothing more that they would like to do with their season after a big win versus Leroy is sneak up on a Stockton team who beats them week 9 and sets everything into chaos, right? Nothing more Dupec team would like to do is their last year in the NUIC. Are they good enough to beat the likes of the top teams in the NUIC going out? Right now, they have not been. Can they beat Lee Win? Those are questions that we're going to find out here come this Friday.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. And talking about Forreston being a big game killer,
Yep.
They've been playing that way this year. They had to go into a game with Galena, a must-win opportunity for them to to keep their playoff lives in balance. They took care of business. They just came out of a game with Leroy. They had to go down there. They had to get the win, knowing that they're playing the Stockton team here in week 9. They went down and did that. So they've already had to face that adversity in 2 separate situations, and they've come out on top.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's playoff football. They're playing for their football lives to get in the playoffs, and they had 5 wins. They pretty much punched their ticket. They get the golden ticket. let's punch it a little more. Let's punch that ticket and take out the number one team in the state and send a message to everybody. And like I said, we've seen it done with Forreston before. Is Stockton, is that tight game? You see it two ways. Their backs were up against the wall against Dupec. They put a championship drive to seal that game and win the game, right? So is that a thing of Dupec was that good a football team, or is Stockton losing focus? Those are questions you can ask now going to week 9. Let's see what Stockton team shows up at Forreston, knowing what Forreston wants to do to them, and Forreston knowing what they want to do to Stockton.
Yeah,
That's what's great about the NUIC.
God, I love this conference for so many reasons, and you just hit the nail on the head, man.
Yep. No, there's not a better week than when you say Dupec versus Lee Win and Stockton versus Forreston for the conference title.
Yep. All right, let's go through a couple other things. What else did we learn in the past 2 weeks here?
Well, I've seen that you posted on NUIC, not football,
All access.
All access. So make sure you're paying attention to both. But now we skip into volleyball. Lola Robertson, 1,000 kill this past weekend. But I think the shocker of everything was with the likes of Stockton, Durand in the Eastland tournament. Milledgeville sitting now at 23-5, beat Durand in the championship and getting hot at the right time. But a big win for Milledgeville, who beat Durand and Stockton. They beat Stockton to go to the championship and then beat Durand in 2 to win the championship. So big win for Milledgeville. And that when we talked about the regionals a couple weeks ago and everyone was talking about it, and we talk about it. Milledgeville is the number 5 seed in the regionals. One of the things that you look at is the number 2 seed is Stockton, who they just beat. They just beat, the likes of Stockton and Durand, who are also, Stockton is ahead of them. Durand is the 6th seed. So it's going to shape up to crazy regional. We're going to go on the last week here of the regular season. A lot of things are going to be panned out with conference champions, but the regionals are already set. But you just see the parity and how great some of these teams are, to where a Milledgeville, a 5 seed, just beat the 2 seed in Stockton, the 6 seed in Durand, who's been playing very well, to win the Eastland tournament. And I forget what who finished where, but we talk about games that are big, and every game matters from here on out. But there's some very good volleyball being played in the likes of the NUIC.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it was Milledgeville got 1st place. Durand was 2nd place.
Yep.
Stockton beat Riverdale for 3rd place. Eastland beat Rock Falls for 5th place. And then likewise, Newman finished 7th, Orangeville 8th, AFC 9th, and Oregon in 10th place.
And we were talking off because we were looking at the NUIC teams that are in there. And this week, Orangeville beat Dakota, who is the looking at the map, Dakota is a 7th seed, right? So earlier in the year, Orangeville now has beat Dakota twice in conference, which would make for a good matchup in regionals. But the 10th seed is Scales Mound, who Orangeville lost to early in the year at the Scales Mound tournament. So likely Scales Mound got ahead of them, head to head, right? If you're voting how you vote.
Yep.
Orangeville then now face Durand, the 6th seed at the Durand. I mean, that's how close games are and how meaningful they are, in September to October. Every game matters, but we're going to see some very good volleyball played out, and some teams that are regional championship type teams maybe not even play for a regional championship.
Oh, I know. And that's, we had that conversation with Molly Kelsey here on a episode here a little while back. And, that is very tough. It's the unfortunate part of what we have to deal with in the current situation. We've talked to it at a high level, but I'm excited that they did go to seeding the subsectional full through, because I do like the way the bracket plays out. But as we have discussed several times, it would be great if they just took this whole sectional and seeded it 1 through 32 or whatever it is, however many teams.
There's a lot of
got in there.
volleyball teams.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, the 4 hosts again are the Durand Regional, the Somonac Regional, the West Carroll, and the Yorkville. And they will all meet in Eastland for the sectional championship. And that's coming up here in a couple weeks. We'll be seeing that. But yeah, this is the last week, I believe, of conference play. And a lot of teams played tournaments this last weekend. But congrats to Milledgeville. Congrats to Lola Robertson on her 1,000th kill. And we got a lot of good volleyball ahead of us. And again, football is now in week 9, and a lot of teams back against the wall trying to get in. Some teams are just now for positioning, and the conference championship for the NUIC is up for grabs this Friday.
Yeah, that means regionals for volleyball starts next week as
Yep.
well. So we'll be entering the playoffs and regional play all at the same time.
Great time of year.
Oh, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yep.
But the one thing is, it's gone by so fast.
It has gone by fast. I was just talking to a couple kids, and I was just talking to my own kids, and, they're in their last year of college, and it's like they get like a month off or whatever, and it's like before you know it, first semester's over, second semester's here. Before you know it, November 3rd will be here. Basketball practice for girls basketball will be starting. Boys is the week after. We'll be starting basketball. We'll be starting wrestling for the winter. And, before you know it, then it'll be springtime.
Yeah.
Before you know it.
This past weekend, there was the cross-country conference championships held at Forston, and Galena East Dubuque River Ridge won the boys side of it. Amboy wins the girls side of it. So congratulations to both those teams. We also saw, Penn State's Tessa Janicki is back out and running ahead of the Olympics that she'll be on that team here come this winter. But Penn State's off to a great start so far, so great to see another local person doing great at the high level. Jennings Dunker came out on Mel Kiper's top 5 projected NFL prospects for tackles coming out of college. So we can definitely expect to see Jennings in the NFL draft going in a high round here as well coming up. Another good shout out here. Southwestern East Dubuque, Joe Edler's team, Xander Tierney, surpassed 1,000 yards, becoming the first player in Warcat history to eclipse 1,000 yards rushing, as well, all-purpose yards at 1,800 yards. So congratulations, Xander, on a great performance there. And, then we had the golf finals. Fulton finishing second as a team.
How about that?
Yeah. And I think it was Owen Van Zuden.
Yeah.
Also finished as state. Did he finish 4th place or state runner-up? I can't remember.
I thought it was runner-up, but I could be wrong.
Yes.
I was following you.
Yes.
At the time, but it's been a little bit, and a lot of things have happened since then. But I know top 4.
Yep.
So shout out to them if you've ever played the game of golf, which I have.
I have too. I suck at it.
you'll realize at what type of sport it is and how tough it is to do. So shout out to Fulton on their success for the golf side of it.
Yeah, lots of fun to see there, and a lot of good things going on as well.
But yeah, cool thing about Jennings Dunker, that'll be I know there've been multiple NUIC type players that have been invited to the NFL draft, to practices and everything like that. But it looks like he's going to be one of the top picks. That we're going to hear his name, and how cool is that? And like you said again, with Tessa Janicki playing for Penn State, will be playing for the USA Olympic team. I don't know of anybody in the NUIC that has played for an Olympic team. I think she will be the first.
I think so.
I don't want to be the guy that says that that's never happened when it might have happened and knock it. But how cool is that and here's the cool thing about both of them. Meet them in person, see them play. You're a fan of them. You root for them, whether whatever school they went to and where they're at now at Iowa and Penn State. Two class act kids doing what they need to do.
Yeah, awesome to see. And yes, if Jennings goes in the NFL draft, he'll be the first NUIC guy ever drafted in the NFL. Like you said, we've had a couple different players reach practice squads, but never actually getting drafted in the draft. So
pretty cool.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool things to look forward to. And I'll be honest, I'm really excited about the Olympics this winter, especially knowing that Tess is going to be on that squad. So that's awesome to see too.
Yep, that'll be very cool.
What else we got to talk about here, Jay?
I think we got a lot coming up here this next week. We got your playoff show.
Yep.
For the NUIC that we're all going to be a part of and listening to. You've given all of your projections of things that could happen. So we say that right? Projections. And they're just projected wins and losses. But we've seen some games over the weekend. And one of the games I was paying attention to, just 'cause I'm an Orangeville guy and everything, was the Martinsville game. You start watching games like that may or not impact you. But there's going to be a lot of games on Friday, a couple on Saturday, the big one with Milledgeville meeting halfway. That game will be impactful for many, many teams and what they will have. Last week of volleyball. So it's going to be really cool to see how it all plays out. And I hope as a coach, as a player, you soak it all in these last weeks of the fall season. I always tell people winter stuff will come soon enough. What I always, I get everybody, they'll say, "Oh, coach, I'm ready for basketball. Oh, I'm ready." Understand the fact, play what you're playing now. That stuff will come. There's an end date for everything. Thanksgiving, football's over. Volleyball will be over same time. Basketball will be here. Wrestling will be here. Enjoy what you have the next week. If this is your last week of football, enjoy what you got when you make playoffs. Enjoy what you got for the volleyball teams and regionals, and soak it all in, because it only comes around once a year, and give everything you got.
Yeah, so speaking about that playoff show, it'll be Saturday, October 25th at 6:30 p.m. Myself and Jay are co-hosting it, along with Joe Murdian from Polo and View of the Spotlight on IFA, and Greg Armstrong from View from the West. So, he's been on our playoff show for this will be his 5th year now.
Yep.
So a lot of good conversations come out of that. We're also doing something new this year where we'll have coaches coming on the show, giving little interview segments here and there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely worth the tune in, especially if you are a big small school follower. Right? I know I hear the complaints a lot about what IHSA does and the little coverage that they do when it comes to small stuff. So if you want good, impactful information, our show is going to bring it for you. And we're very proud of it, very excited for it, and it's going to be a great time.
I've heard it's one of the most insightful things out there.
Yeah.
From many people. I've heard that. A lot of knowledge with Joe and Greg and yourself. So I'll be there just to help out and give our points of view. But it's one of those things. The biggest thing is to spotlight the teams and the kids and the coaches, because it's a great night to be a part of. Everybody finds out where they're traveling. Everybody finds out everybody's doing weird haircuts and weird things to their body that, probably can't be said, but that's normally what happens on those nights. And, you do that with a group of guys and a group of kids and coaches, and they all enjoy it. And then you realize Monday you got to play a football game the following Saturday. So everybody gets ready for that. I say Saturday. Forston will argue something with a Friday something or something. So there's always Forston around there that'll make it difficult for everybody. But
play Friday night.
It's gonna be something like that. But yeah, everybody's gonna be ready for that Saturday afternoon playoff game. When are you playing? Where are you playing? And then what are the matchups, and where do we see upsets happening? And that's going to be the big thing.
Yeah, it's going to be very special, as it always is, because football does it different than any other sport, which makes it just that much more fun. It'll be a great show. But anyway, got 1 week left in the regular season, both football and volleyball, and then we head into the postseason. It's going to be a lot of fun. As always, root for the NUIC.